Wizard Life is a relatively unknown game. If you wanted to discover it yourself, you'd either have to search it up, get lucky by seeing it in your recommended section, or be bored and scroll for a while in the popular games category. On top of that though, it's also a unique game, and if you take a look at what's happened over the course of its history as its players challenged what it was originally meant to be, it's easy to see why. Since I'd like for people outside of the community to enjoy this channel as if they had played the game themselves, I thought it would be nice to briefly cover everything you would need to know to understand what the game is, and how it's still this popular after nearly 4 years without an update, to help prepare people for my future interview series, which I'll talk more about at the end of this video. I boiled this discussion down to 3 questions, the first being, what is Roblox? If you game pretty frequently, the best comparison to Roblox is Steam, or the App Store. The site gives you a wide variety of games to choose from, and if you want to know more about a game, you can click its thumbnail. If the description sounds nice, you can click the green button and boom, enjoy the game. The difference between Roblox and these other 2 gaming platforms is that Roblox thrives off of the fact that its users create the games, mainly through the use of Roblox Studio, a free extension provided by Roblox that you can use to make anything you'd like. I could go into the studio right now, place a block, and upload it to Roblox as a game. It's not a good game, no, but it's a game nonetheless. After a lot of practice though, some people were able to take game making up to the next level, creating things like this. And this. And this. Most of the games on the platform are like the game I made though. There are tens of millions of them that build up dust and stay empty. I would wager that there are around, maybe, 10,000 games that are successful and generate revenue for both the developer and Roblox themselves. Out of these 10,000 or so games is a world called Wizard Life. Created by users Eddie and Rylock in the September of 2017, it's basically just a spin-off of Harry Potter. Eddie and Rylock's previous games were made with the goal being to roleplay, and this was one of those games. Originally, that's all it was intended to be, a roleplay game set in a Harry Potter-themed school that let students save up money to purchase new spells to mess around with. There were plans to add an arena that would satisfy people looking to fight, but that never happened, as Eddie and Rylock updated the game for the final time on December 25th, 2017, only 4 months after the game was released. The next time they added content was almost exactly 4 years later. Luckily, the player base found a way to pass the time, a way that ended up changing the original intentions of the game: dueling. One of the many spells in the game is Avada Kedavra, also known as the Killing Curse. It's the most expensive spell, and if you were to not spend any money on the game, it would require a total of 111 hours of playtime to unlock. Once the first players began to unlock it, they started what is now known as dueling. Dueling is fairly simple. 2 players stand a given distance apart and one of them says go. From that point forward, the goal of both of the players is to kill their opponent with Avada Kedavra. The player left standing wins the duel. It's honestly that simple, but as players got better, it became more intricate, and strategies began evolving to help players win more duels. I'll talk more about these strategies in a future video, but for now, all you have to know is that it's a little bit more complicated than just saying go and shooting at each other. Not long after this happened, some people took the liberty of establishing groups to help train and test other duelists. At different points, these groups got mad at each other for one reason or another, and wars broke out. These wars are the main focus of the game's history, and they're what I'll be talking about in my interview series. As time went on though, the wars became less intense and dueling started to change. It wasn't by the hand of any of the players, but instead by how game creation works in general. You see, because Eddie and Rylock neglected to update the game, but Roblox continued to update the platform, the code they originally used became outdated and incompatible with these newer versions of Roblox. With each new update, the chances of the code failing increased, and eventually some parts of it broke completely. As a quick side note, this might not be a perfect explanation of how the game started breaking down, but because I'm not familiar with developing, I'll have to get a verified answer later. For now, what I said is enough to get my point across. I won't get into all the specifics of how these broken bits of code affected the game, but I will talk about them later in a future video. All you have to know is that the most recent thing to break was the wand animation. When you swung your wand, it used to tend to gravitate upwards, but now most of it is focused on the bottom right of your character. This newer wand animation completely undermined some larger aspects of dueling, and a lot of the duelists, who had already dealt with a bunch of stuff like this in the past, decided to quit. I can't blame them, but what intrigues me more is that there are actually still a few duelists left, and you might be wondering why they would continue to play the game if dueling is so broken. My personal answer to that question is that I want to make videos about its past, and I don't need to duel to do that. I can't speak on behalf of everyone else though, so I decided to ask a few friends why they still play, even though there are so little of us left. Puppet plays because he enjoys teaching newer duelists, and enjoys dueling in general. Mike and Lego both play because they still have friends to hang out with, and Tribe plays on occasion for a lot of reasons. He just wants to have fun and enjoys the action side of dueling. It seems as though the main consensus is that dueling is still fun, even though its core components have been stripped away. On top of that, a lot of people still have friends who play, so until players decide to start hanging out somewhere else, this game's dueling community won't truly die for a while. Thanks for watching this video. Before I roll the outro, I want to talk about what's next. My current game plan for the next few videos is to release 2 interviews with entirely different tones and editing styles, since I'm not sure which version of the interviews will be more fun. One requires more work, but might be more entertaining, while the other is much less work for me, but is super laid back, so some people might find it boring. Regardless, after I release the second interview, I'll be asking for everyone's opinion on which is better. After that, I'm not sure what I'll do, but if people show enough interest in these videos, then I'll keep making them. I'm hoping to get the first interview out as soon as I can, but I procrastinated a long time on this video script, so I honestly don't know when it'll be out. Just know that it'll be out at least, sorta soon. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you soon. Later.